Hello friends, being a man is great. You get to use your muscles to pick up heavy things. You get to use your dick to screw things. You get to use your brain to think and create things. It's no wonder feminists hate men. They desperately want what we have, but they can never have it. But how the heck have they convinced men that being a man is bad or evil? And convinced they have. Unless you are blind or you have not noticed the trend, American men and Western men in general are less like men and more like little boys, effeminate little boys, stuck in a state of arrested development. Even worse, some men apologize for being men or supplicate and pander to women. Instead of explaining in detail the reasons for this pussification, I am a man and I don't have time for nonsense. I'd rather talk about winning, but this information has to spread. I will gloss over the reasons and give you some links to read for yourself. Number 1. Diet. The average man eats a diet high in processed carbohydrates as outlined to be healthy by the food pyramid. Newsflash, the food pyramid is bogus. It's cheaper to produce grains than it is meat and other animal products, and it's more profitable. A box of cereal can sit on the shelf for months. A cut of steak can sit in the fridge for only a few days. A high-fat, high-protein diet is essential for the production of testosterone, evidenced by our caveman ancestors. Imagine a fight between an average caveman and an average male office worker. The pussiest of the pussy men disregard meat in favor of soy-based diet. Another newsflash, soy is an estrogen-enhancing garbage byproduct repackaged and sold as health food, and Americans eat more of it than anyone else. 2. Women's liberation. Women's lib has taught men one thing. Women are right, always. Men are wrong, always. In the media, men are constantly portrayed as buffoons to their all-knowing spouse or girlfriend. According to the media, you must always bow down to your woman. Here are a few things you may not know. A. Most women don't like to be in charge. They want a man to be in charge and lead. B. Women's lib is a crock of bull. Not that I'm saying that women should not have rights. What I'm saying is that women were never discriminated against or oppressed in the first place. Men used to work all day to provide for their wives and children. C. Women and men are not the same and they're not equal. There are differences in the gender, which is why for the entire history of mankind, men have been the providers and women have been the caregivers. Societies fall apart with the destruction of the nuclear family brought to you by the empowerment of women. The tides are turning. Women are becoming more masculine and men are becoming more feminine. 3. Lack of exercise. How could a man possibly be anything other than a lump of lard if he never exercises? He can't. 4. Lack of father figures. More and more kids are being raised by single moms. You can't have a complete development with only half of the building blocks. In the media, men are portrayed as completely unnecessary, which is completely true if your goal is to raise criminal children. 5. Government-sponsored emasculation. An estrogen-enhancing diet is pushed onto you from all angles by your government. You are fed a line of nonsense about women and men being equal, yet divorce court can ruin a man and can only improve a woman's situation, no matter the reason for the divorce. The wealth is systematically distributed from the man to the woman via divorce theft. It's a fact that women consume far more than men. If women end up with the money in the long run, they're going to buy more useless crap which lines the pockets of those in charge. Every ad, TV show, movie, and mixed media portrays women as the smarter, better sex, and men as weaklings. Men are taught to be ashamed of their masculinity. The CIA has admitted to funding the advancement of women's liberation, with the stated goal of taxing women, who they could not tax when they were not working. 6. Political correctness is the soul killer of man. In a PC culture, most men have to walk on eggshells to not offend many women or minorities. All human resources departments are staffed with women and minorities ready to kill anything that isn't supplication to politically correct fantasies and pedestalization of women and minorities. Working men have to avoid charges of sexism, racism, and sexual harassment at all costs. Whatever happened to kicking ass and taking names? Now it's leaking ass and taking blame. So what's a man to do? Never eat soy. Eat meat. Meat is the man's food. Load up on steak, eggs, chicken, raw milk, butter, and all other real products. Limit your consumption of processed food. 1 day a week is usually fine. Eat high protein, moderate to high fat, and low carbohydrate to boost testosterone. Eat grass-fed beef if you can afford it. Lift heavy weights or do calisthenics, which is push-ups, pull-ups, dips, and essentially using your own body weight. You can hardly be a man and be a weakling at the same time. Positive ball nonsense is okay if for the girls, but no man should ever be caught dead doing a shoulder presses with 10-pound dumbbells of a stability wall. Learn to defend yourself. A man doesn't need to start fights, but if the shit hits the fan, he needs to be able to defend himself and his family. Learn to box, learn MMA, buy a gun, but do something. Defending yourself is perfectly fine, even against a woman, but only a repugnant coward beats on those weaker than him. Cave it. You must discipline your kids, or they too will turn into spoiled little Nancy boys. If you choose to spank, that's your prerogative. Don't take shit from anybody unless it's a calculated and temporary strategy to get ahead, or to get something you need. Stop the supplication and pandering. The corporate world has gone to the dogs, well, hyenas. Perhaps it's time to leave. Entrepreneurship is one of man's greatest callings. There's no such thing as redefining masculinity, only emasculation. That doesn't mean that you have to start watching football or start barbecuing every Saturday or drinking beer. What it does mean is that you should never be ashamed or apologize for your masculinity. You should love it, it's great. Most older men have wised up to the ways of the world, but young men are still being spoon-fed these lies and just don't know what they should do. Friend, you got two choices. Be a man or don't. If no one treats you like a man, that's probably because you don't act like one. Learn to cultivate your masculinity. You're a man, goddammit, act like one.
Drop the bass, Kitty.
If you want to protect your online privacy and help my channel out at the same time, visit drivenanddesign.com/NordVPN.
It's restorative, causing a heightened energy. It's excellent for diet because it suppresses hunger. It helps your digestive tract. It's anti-diuretic. It acts against fatigue, and most importantly, it acts against altitude sickness.